Hi all, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do a yoga flow for strength. I'm going to show you just a few things that I do just on like a daily basis just to kind of maintain strength. These are things I've been doing for years, and then I've incorporated some of my yoga into that. You don't need any equipment, just yourself. You can have your yoga blocks if you want those. Just for some of the things, it might help with some of your balance if you can't get down as low as we're going to go, or if you just need more support. Or if you don't have yoga blocks, you can also use pillows or blankets, whichever works best for you. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to start off, we're going to widen our stance on our yoga mat, and we're going to stand up nice and tall, and we're going to raise our arms up and just stretch, kind of stretch backwards a little bit. You can lift your head to the sky, and then bring your arms down and clasp your hands behind your back if you're able to do that, and hinge forward and bring your arms above your head. This is a really good stretch for the upper back and the shoulders. I really like this. I do this several times a day. It's when I feel myself getting tight from sitting too much. Let's do that again. Arms up. Look up at the ceiling or the sky, wherever you are today. Bring your arms behind your back and hinge forward. Very good. And then you can come out of that and you can shake that out. So widen your stance just a little bit more. Whew. Widen your stance just a little bit more. And then I want you to come down and put your hands on the mat. Now, this is where your yoga blocks will come in. If you can't get down, if that's too much for you, and if that my stance is too wide, then you can have less if that's what's easier for you, and you can use your yoga blocks to give yourself some balance. Always work with your body. Don't try to force anything. Over time, the flexibility and the strength will come. So just work with where you are. Okay? So move those out of the way. So we're going to widen our stance with or without the yoga blocks, whichever is easiest. And to bring our hands down to the mat. And we're going to shift over to the right side. We're going to lunge. And then we're going to shift over to the left side for the lunge. Come up. Then we're going to bend our knees. Come up. Bend your knees. Come up. Bend your knees. Come up. Shift again to your right. Shift again to your left. Come up. Bend your knees. Up. Bend your knees. Up. And bend your knees. And up. And one more time. Stay with me. Bend your knees. Up. Bend your knees. Up. And bend your knees. Up. Very good. Now, safely come back to a standing position, and then we're going to go down onto our mats. I'm going to have you can start on either side, whichever side it is. We're going to do both sides, so it doesn't matter if you want to start on your right side, left side, whichever side is easier for you to start on. So we're going to come all the way down. Now, you can stay up like this if you feel good in this position. If this is more comfortable, you can stay up on your forearm, or you can come all the way down, bend your legs, and then we're going to straighten the top leg, and we're going to lift the top leg up, then down, up, then down, up, then down. We're going to do this a few times. Go slow. You don't have to go super fast. Do a couple more. And then we're going to bring it back down. Very good. Then we're going to bring our leg back up, but we're going to bend at the knee and stay on your hip on the whichever side you're laying on. So I'm laying on my left side, so I want to stay on my left hip. I don't want to be rolling back this direction. So stay up on that hip and straighten your leg and bend your leg. Straighten your leg and bend your leg. Straighten and bend. And we're just going to do that a couple of times. Just stay with me, keep breathing. And just go slow. You can go a little faster if you would prefer that, but oftentimes if the slower we go, the better it actually is for working the muscle, because you can actually feel the muscle constricting. And then bring it back down. Now we're going to do what's called a clamshell. So we're going to work our inner thighs. So we're going to put our feet together like we were before we did the leg lifts. And we're going to lift the top leg and bring it down. Lift the top leg and bring it down. Keep your feet together. And you may find that you can open your leg wider than what even I am. But you should be feeling this in your hip, in your butt. Very good. Now, we're going to do a really quick side plank just for our abs while we're working on this side. So for this, I do want you to come up on your forearm. I want your elbow to be under your shoulder and your hand flat on the ground. Bend your knees. You can put your hand on your hip if that's easier for you. And shoot the hips up in the air. Just hold it there for just a second. Raise your arm to the sky. Just hold it for a few seconds. Keep breathing. And then bring it back down. Let's do that again. Hand on your hip. Up. Hand to the sky. And come back down. Very good. All right, let's switch over to the other side. Move my blocks out of the way. And then straighten the top leg. And then up. And then down. Then up. And then down. Up. Down. Up. Down. Just keep breathing through this. Over time, you'll find that you can do more repetitions. And this is just a quick flow just to show you some of the things that I do. All right, bend your knees. And you can always pause the video and do any of these things, longer repetitions if you would like to do that. All right, bend your legs. Bring up the top leg. Bend that. Stay on your hip. And out and in. Out and in. Again, you should be feeling this in your hip, in your glute. Last one. Very good. Bring it down. You can rub that out because I know that can feel a little tense, so you rub that out if you need to. Just good. Okay. Then bend your knees again, and we're going to do our clamshell, keeping your hip on the ground. Open and close. Open and close. And you can feel this. If you want to put your hand here, you can feel. And even in the inner thigh. And one more. Very good. All right. Come up and do our side plank really quick. So our forearm on the mat, elbow under our shoulder. You can put your hand on your hip and shoot the hips up. And then just stay here for a second. Raise your arm to the sky. Just be happy that you're here. Sometimes this is the hardest part, is just showing up. And then we'll come back down. I'm going to do that one more time. Hand on the hip. Shoot the hips up. Hand to the sky. And bring it back down. Very good. Okay, let's come on to our back just for a second. Let's just stretch that out just for a second. Let's just do a reclining triangle pose. So bring your feet together, open up your hips, and you can just lay here. You can bring your arms up. If that feels good, just to counteract that movement just for a second, just lay here and just be proud of just what you did just right there. Very good. All right, bring your legs back together, and we're gonna bring our feet to the outside of our mat. Hands down on the mat, and then we're going to shoot our hips up in the air. Now, don't overarch your back to where you're having pain in the lower back. We want the upper back on the mat and your bottom lifted. So it should not be uncomfortable. If you're having pain in your lower back, you need to come down some because you always want to protect your lower back. So we're going to do a couple of lifts here. This is really good for your booty. So we're going to go down and up, down and up, down and up. Just keep breathing. Stay with me. One more. Very good. And bring it down just for a second. Take a second. Deep breath. All right. And we're going to shoot them up again. And this time, we're going to stay up. And we're going to open and close the legs. So bring your knees together and out. Together and out. And like I said, if you want to do more repetitions of this, that's perfectly fine. You can pause the video or, write this down and then, just do this in your everyday practice. And then one more. Very good. Now, bring your legs in, hug them to your chest, and just relax there for just a second. Like I say, sometimes the hardest part of all of this is literally just showing up to the mat. I mean, it's so easy to get bogged down with everything in the day and, say that we can't find the time, but, 10, 15, 20 minutes in our day, I think we can all find the time just to do this for ourselves. Okay, very good. Then you can straighten the legs out just for a second. And just breathe in, breathe out. Very good. Now we're going to lift the legs. And so you're going to keep your back on the floor or the ground, wherever you are. Protect the lower back. Make sure the lower back is touching the ground. You don't want to be arched because that's too much pressure on the lower back. And if you're able to, bring the right foot down and touch the mat. Bring the left toe down and touch the mat. Right, left, right, left. This is a good exercise for the lower abdominals. And all you ladies out there who've had babies, sometimes doing all those crunches can actually make things worse for us because our abdominal wall has been loosened and the muscles aren't where they used to be. Just make sure you're keeping your back on the ground. Just a couple more. And actually, by doing crunches can actually cause the belly bulge to become worse. So there are several great YouTubers out there that do exercises primarily for women who've had babies and for the lower abdominals. So check them out for sure. And then we're going to do one more. Very good. And then just bring your legs in. You can actually even open them up into kind of a modified happy baby just to counteract all of that. Put your legs down on the mat. Rotate your knees to the right. Always protecting the low back. Up to the left. And then one more time to the right. And then again to the left. Very good. All right, then come up. And then we're going to go into a tabletop position. So let's take a couple of cat-cows here. So a cat-cow, starting with a flat back. We're going to drop our belly down, gazing up to the ceiling or the sky or wherever you are today, and just feeling that stretch in the abdomen. Then we're going to round our back into a cat pose. Think like a Halloween kitty. And then we're going to drop our belly back down into a cow. And then we're going to go back up into a cat pose. We're going to come back to a flat back. Now I want you to bend your toes just for a quick second, and we're going to tuck our hips back. And we're just going to stay here for just a second because this is a really good stretch for the bottom of our feet. You don't think about that, like stretching the bottom of our feet, and depending on the type of work you do, or if you're wearing like high heels or whatever, I mean, our feet really do a lot for us. So it's a really nice stretch for the bottom of the feet. And the first time I ever did this, I was like, oh my goodness, I wish I had known about that before, because it really feels nice. So you can just stay here for a minute, just relaxing into this. Just feeling that really nice stretch in the bottom of your feet. All right, then come back up. Now we're going to straighten out our right leg. Kind of doing the same type of stretch that we were doing before, but we're going to put our toe down and go back and forth just a little bit just to stretch out our calf muscle. Just slowly. We're not doing anything drastic. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it. Very good. Then we're going to come down on our left elbow and raise our right leg into the sky. And we're going to do some small raises of our leg. This is a really good glute workout. Just small controlled movements. And just a couple more. And then bring it back in. And let's switch sides. We're going to do it on the other side. So left, well, actually, we're going to do the stretch first. I'm sorry. So left leg back, toes bent. Just small, controlled movements, just back just a little bit, just to stretch out that calf muscle. And those things we just don't think about, stretch it out on a day-to-day basis. And then one more. All right, and then we're going to drop down to our right elbow, bring our left leg in the air, and just small controlled movements just to work our buttocks. Just take a couple of these. Couple more. Stay with me. Very good. And then we're going to take a child's pose. So bring your toes, big toes together and come down and just be in this child's pose just for a minute, just to counteract all that we were doing with our lower body. And if you want to shift into a frog pose, you can certainly do that as well. That's a really nice stretch for the inner thighs. I did that in one of my previous videos. Frog pose is a really good stretch for the inner thighs. And we'll just hang out here for just a second. And just taking some deep breaths in and letting them out, and just letting go of the stress of the day. Just taking this few minutes for yourself on the mat. And this is about you. This is your time. Whatever else you got going on, just let that go just for, 10, 15, 20 minutes a day, however long it takes. All right, then we're going to come back up. And we're going to do just a really quick stretch of the upper chest and the arms. So we're going to come down. We're going to bend our right elbow and come down onto the right side. And then come back up and bend the left elbow and come down to the left side. This is a good exercise just for stretching the upper back, the shoulders, but it also is very good for strength. It's kind of like a push-up position for those of us that can't actually do push-ups. I'm not a push-up person. Have never really been able to do those. So I've always done a modified version. But this is a really great stretch, but also really good for strength. And then come back into your child's pose again. And then we're just going to go into, we're almost done. We're just going to go into just a high plank just for a second and try to hold this here. Make sure your abs are engaged. Keep those engaged. And we'll come into a child's pose. And we're just going to pedal it out. If your feet can, or if your heels can touch the mat, great. If not, don't force it. It will come with time. Then we're going to go into a pigeon pose on the right side. I'm sorry, the left side or the right side, whichever side you're on. You don't always have to be on the exact same side as me. It's whichever side you're working. We're always going to do everything on the opposite side as well. And then if you want to lean forward into your pigeon, that's great. And then if you're not able to do the pigeon, you can do the figure 4, lying on your back. That's perfectly fine until you can work it up into doing the pigeon pose. Carefully come out of that. We're going to go back up into our downward dog for just a second. Pedal it out. And then we're going to go into the pigeon on the right side or the left side, whichever's the opposite side of what you were working on. And then we're going to fold forward into that just for a second. Just taking some deep breaths. Just feel all the stress just leave. I've noticed, just doing my yoga, just like everybody, there's stresses and things, stuff that I worry about on a daily basis. But when I'm doing my yoga and whatever, I actually do find that my mind is much clearer. You can come out of your pigeon pose now and then just take a comfortable seat onto your mat. And you can fold your legs or sit on your knees, whichever is easiest for you. But I do find that my mind is clearer and I'm not thinking about stressors and things when I'm doing my yoga practice. And I hope that with time, the same thing can happen for you. I noticed it almost immediately when I first started, and that's one of the things that I like about it the best is just I'm focused on myself, my body, and my mat, and that's it. That's all that's there, for those 10, 15, 20 minutes a day. So I thank you very much for joining me today, and let me know in the comments what you think. If there's something you want to see, let me know. Please like my video. Please subscribe to my channel. Please share so I can offer this to more people. But until then, I hope to see you in the next one. Namaste.